The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And welcome, everybody, to another episode, another beautiful Wednesday of The Calling. And let's see now who's all in here. We got a new person in the chat room, a cat's meat. I don't know. Is it cat's meat? So, like, they're going to meet up? Or cat meat? They're going to eat them.
Or the cat meat. Maybe they can't meet. They won't meet.
Weird. Okay. So what's new, Kimberly?
Not much, Jerry. It's just freezing out here. That's about it.
I know.
So freaking cold.
I know. You almost said the F word. You almost got a fine.
Cookies.
Cookies. There you go. It is in where I live at. I'm right in front of a huge open. It's not open, of course, but gigantic window, and it's like freezing.
I believe it.
You know? Yeah. So cat's meat. No, like cat's meat. The bad stuff you feed the cat.
Oh, ooh. That's not good.
That's not good?
No, not what you feed the cat. At least I don't think so.
I tried it one time. You know, as a matter of fact, when I used hold on a second. Now, when I used to work for Tom Thumb many years ago, I was a store manager, and this guy used to come in every day, and he'd get 2 of those little round things of cat food. And he really did. I'm not lying to you. This is real. I'm not lying. Anyway, so he would get 2 of them and a loaf of bread. And you're looking at me like I'm nuts. But anyway, one day I asked him, because he didn't speak very good English. And I said, so what kind of cat do you have?
Oh, my.
And he looked at me and goes, cat? I go, cat, You're like cat? And he goes, I don't have cat. I go, do you know that is cat food? What? And I said, those little that's cat food.
Oh.
No, he says. I go, yeah, it's cat food. And so he just put it down. He walked out. He never came back again. I felt bad about it, but at the same time, it was weird because I remember one time he used the bathroom and he came on out and he's like licking the side of his hand and then.
Stop.
Okay, now that was a lie. Yeah, but no, he really did, and I felt really bad for the poor guy. I mean yee.
I don't know about that.
Well, no, it was real.
I know people have tried. I know people have eaten it by accident in some ways, and I could imagine. I could see that. I guess I don't know. But yeah, there's quite a few people in the chat room right now. So that's good.
That's pretty good. That's good. Okay, so our guest that we have tonight, and I met her off of Twitter, and she has such positive tweets and the things that she said, for people, and her YouTube channel, if you ever get a chance. Look up Heidi Lea, Lea, and on Twitter, and give her a good follow and stuff. Now, Heidi, you're a natural witch, you're a tarot reader, and you're a medium. And when did all this stuff come out for you? Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. There you go.
She's on mute.
I do that all the time.
You fail.
There you go.
The dog started barking. I'm like, no.
Yeah, so I'm one of those people who has memories from the time I was crawling. So the supernatural stuff really started about a year and a half, 2 years old, when I started having experiences, and they were not positive. I was seeing, who had died in every house and on the play, and it was a lot. It was a lot, and I knew, and I'm from a small town in Montana, so ranch people, it's not the kind of thing you go, oh look, there's, so I did that a couple times and learned that it's just best to be quiet about it. So I learned, basically from that point, I just kind of had to learn how to not see what I didn't want to see. And that had a lot to do with, I'll just, be honest with you, I prayed. I was a tiny little thing, and I remember when it happened. I fell down into the ground on the gravel, and I saw this old lady, and she hated me, but she had died. She had just died, and she used to sit out on her porch with her oxygen tank and smoke like crazy. And she died, and I was coming across the street, and I saw her, and she had no eyes, and she wasn't a real color, and I was like, I can't take this. And I just fell to the ground and started praying. I really did. And I didn't know I didn't know God. I didn't know nothing. I was two, I didn't know nothing, but I knew enough to know that I was part of something bigger. And I saw light things as well as dark things. It wasn't all dark. So I knew instinctually that there was light too. So that's what happened that day, is this, I had a breakdown for a little 2-year-old, and I prayed to God to not let me see these horrible things anymore, not be chased by bees in the wintertime, not, weird things would happen to me. Loss of time. Wow. There's one major story that I would love to share one day that I haven't yet with anyone. Only my closest know, but it kind of, created the person that I am, as far as being on the right side and fighting for what's good and empowering people, helping them see who they are within, so they can, really understand they're a part of something bigger, even when you're all alone. So that's what's always been most important to me. Being able to share my gifts is a pretty big deal for me, to come on Twitter and I've done readings for a lot of my followers that are still my followers, and I've made a lot of friendships, and with YouTube and everything, and the readings that I do for tarot and things like that, it's an honor for me to be able to, as a reclusive person who is retired, to be able to reach people and really help them see their true selves and gain power from that and strength, and have a great life. And that's how I've done it. So I just want to, be able to share that with people in any way that I can, so, and this is just the beginning, I'm sure.
Right.
I've only been on social media a few years, so
Gotcha.
I have to get used to all this energy, it's difficult. I have to do a lot of cleansing. But I'm glad to do it. It's my job,
Right. Well, I looked up when you said natural witch. I had to look it up, and I didn't know there was such a thing. But natural witch, known as also cradle witch. I'm sorry, and that it's more. It's like the movie The Craft. Sarah Bailey in there, that was played by Robin Tooney, portrayed a person that it came natural to them. It wasn't something that, other than that, witches, they go to classes, they're tied up for, could be years on end and stuff. But a natural one just comes from the earth. It comes from the universe. And that's something really special. And that's one of the things that when I seen your thing on Twitter, and it just felt right because you were like liking things that I put on there and stuff. I thought, wow, this person's really nice, and I know some of my, well, everything I put on there is the calling, or about the gathering, which is a show that's on Tuesdays, and I appreciate you for being kind to take a moment to recognize that. But so now, when did it? I mean, what age did you finally say to yourself, "I've got something going on here"? And I mean, who did you go see about it?
I was so young when it all started, but when I really found out like what I was, and there was a name for it, I had just pretty much, everyone who knew me knew that I knew things and knew that I could predict things, knew that I could move things, knew that I could find things, knew that, knew what was where. They all knew that, but it wasn't, I'm a private person and they all respected it. They've always respected that. So there was never any like bantering of questions, so I never really had anybody to talk to about it. I did just constant research when I was a kid. Just constant. Whatever I would see, I would hit that library. Whatever I would feel, whatever I would dream about, anything I could get my hands on, any books, one thing I didn't do was Ouija boards. I didn't do that until I was I think I was in my late 20s. Because I knew, because as an energy reader like me, who can see whatever energy is going on, it's a portal. It's a no. It's a no for me. Because you can't control anything when it comes to a Ouija board. Once you let it out, it's out. It's not going back in. It's out.
Yep.
So that energy doesn't go back in, and then that energy stays attached to the board, and that's why all that crazy stuff happens. But when I was 13, I overheard my mom talking to one of her friends about a ritual they had done. And it was some dark Jerry, Kimberly, everyone. It was some dark things that I had always not been afraid of, because it was always very present in my life, but just not want to put any energy into it. But then I realized, it was that point when I realized what I am. It's because I had already, spoken to cousins and aunts and uncles and this and that and grandparents about what their experiences, and, theirs are no joke. But, living with my mom was, every house we lived in was haunted. It was that day, though, that I found out what I am, naturally what I am. Because I just thought I was just a freak, I don't look like anyone. I was never a kid. Never. I always was very serious. I was never a person that you knew where I was when I was a kid. I was in the mountains. I was communing with spirits. I was, living that life because I had that freedom in Montana. But it was that day that I I really knew that I had to choose a side, light or dark, knowing that I try to live in balance because that's how energy works. If you're out of balance, if you're too happy, you're not paying attention to real life. If you're unhappy and depressed all the time, you're not paying attention to the good life. So I always try to maintain in here, and that's how I've really succeeded in life, all of my life. So I've always tried to, really incorporate the energy aspect of, that in helping people. So I've been able to focus that energy now, as I've gotten older, and, things become much more clear. So that's really where I finally got the confidence to be in public, say, okay, you can reach me for a reading. I've never done that before. I done hundreds of readings throughout my life, medium readings, ghost hunting, tarot, divination, pendulums, things like that. But I'm never just outwardly saying to the public, here I am. If you want to, it's not an easy thing coming to someone like me to get a reading. You're going to find out all the stuff your ancestors want you to know, and you're going to have to face yourself. It's not an easy thing. Right. It's not an easy thing. There's lots of people out there you can go to where it's like, yay! No, I'm going to show you the dark and the light, and when you bring it together, and we put the work in there, that's where change happens. So I'm very serious about where I put my energy, and when I do the readings, it's a very private and powerful thing for the other person. And for me, I'm usually laid up for a couple days,
Right. Curious, have you ever ran across something that kind of like, either a reading for a person or a person themselves and thought, nope, you don't want to touch that?
As far as like dealing with the person, you mean?
Correct. Yes.
No, I'll help anyone. I'll talk to the devil. I do. On occasion, you have to.
Right.
It's just part of the deal. It's you can't be afraid, It's
right.
energy.
Kimberly?
I was just wondering, like you were saying that you're from Montana. I'm actually from Montana too. And
You are?
Yes, I am. Well, my family, my dad's side is from Montana, and he's actually from Billings. So
I love that.
Yeah, so
That's rare.
So like in my case, when I found out I had some types of abilities, I know it's only one-sided family, I think because when you're talking, I kind of see myself like my father's side, and they're from Montana. I think part of it is my grandmother. Like, I don't know why, but I'm reading my grandmother while I'm looking at you, watching you. So I think my grandmother has some type of abilities, but majority comes from my side, my mother's side, So when I'm looking at you, when did you just say, wow, I have something special here? I mean, you say you're 2 years old, but you still don't understand it at 2 years old, because I never did. You know what I mean? And
it was just energy to me. Yeah. When you know what?
What I'm saying is, like, when you decided to say, okay, this is what I think I am, I think I was like a teenager and said, just like that, like you said, you couldn't talk to anybody about it.
No.
You couldn't say a thing.
I couldn't talk to anybody until about, 5 years ago.
Yeah. See? And I was a teenager at the time, but
only people who know me.
Right.
Which is your circle or whatever, even close family members. They see this, they're going to be like, really?
Yeah.
Yes, really. It all makes sense if you think about it,
Right.
When I really started using my magic, though, I was a teenager because, that's when puberty starts and you start going through boys and, I was in activities and everything I could think of to be involved in, because when you're in Montana, there's not a whole lot to do to keep you out of trouble. I knew that I would never stay in Montana just because I don't stay anywhere. I have no earth in my natal chart. I just live up in the atmosphere. I just, I just flow with the energy, Right. I don't have roots like that.
Right.
But when I started using it, it wasn't for good, Kimberly. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. It was for manipulation and money. And, growing up poor,
right.
Dirt poor in Montana, you don't think about, I balanced out the energies with my, what I had to, there's always consequences, no matter what you use magic for, whether it's good or bad, and magic is just energy and intention focused. And that's just science. So, you have to be very careful. But yeah, I started really using magic when I was like an early teenager. I was about, 11, 12, 13. Because I had already done so much research throughout my life and seen so many things, lived in so many haunted houses, dealt with so many entities, even dealt with UFOs and things like that.
Right.
Bigfoot encounter situation, things in the forest that are so evil that I wouldn't. Maybe you and me can talk about it sometime, and I'll tell you where it's at. But and you'll know too. You'll know.
Oh,
you'll be like, I drive through there, and I knew it.
Yeah.
It's all like it's not natural. It's not natural human beings or anything like that. These are different kinds of beings. These are beings that are way older than us, and they're dark.
Yeah.
So that's when I really started using it. Really, when I really started, knowing I could make things happen, and I did, and it was bad.
Okay, so Sherry's asking in the chat room, evil things in the forest? Like what kind of things?
Okay.
I mean, just curiosity, after you answer that, I need to know UFOs, Bigfoot. What's your thoughts on them? But let's answer Sherry's thing first, if you would, please. Evil things in the forest.
Yes. There is, and I've always known what was there. But I don't know what they are, but they're evil and they're hooded and they do really bad things. And it's a part of the interstate in Montana where you go through these mountains, going to a very remote part of Montana, and on the way to a city, which is how Montana is laid out. But and then I knew someone who had escaped what was happening out there, and it was fate that me and her met, and she told me what had happened, and I couldn't believe it. And then a couple of years later, I started reading stories online. That was when the internet wasn't what it is now, but you could still get information online, and there was like little ghost chat rooms of people telling their stories, and little newspapers and things like that, and same story, same area from different people. And we'll talk about that sometime. But there's lots of places in the forest the human beings should not go. Just don't go. Your whole body is telling you, don't be here, don't be there. It's not natural things, and you will become an unnatural thing if you stay there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
The thing is when you talk about that, I've not seen, but I've experienced things in the forest all the time. So I do truly believe what you're saying. And
it got to a point where you don't, Kimberly, you don't go out there alone.
No,
ever.
You don't.
Ever.
A lot of it is native spirits too, and a lot of it can be like way beyond the native spirits as well. These natives know.
Spirits won't even deal with what's out there.
Exactly, and
like the Skinwalker Ranch entities won't even deal with what's out there. It's very similar, actually. It's very similar situation.
Yep. So I think that's interesting.
It's also in an area of Montana where I don't know how into this you guys are, but
you're breaking up.
Are very common. And being from Montana, you guys are breaking up. Are you there?
You're breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about now?
Go ahead. Try it now.
How are we there? Are we good?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. But that in that one particular area where the mountains are of this particular evil, I still, they know me too. Those beings know me, and that's something that I have to deal with quite a bit. Is when I do a reading or when I get in touch with someone's energy, is whatever's on you will know me.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll know that I'm a threat. And they'll know, and that's a lot of energy that gets sucked out of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm always very aware. I always have something on me. I always take extra precautions. But every person I deal with has attachments,
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, you know, some neutral, but they're there and they see me, you know, and it's always an intimidation thing. You know, are you going to get rid of me? Or are you going to?
So that's the next thing I wanted to ask you. So when you do see spirits, I mean, are these spirits that are looking for help, or are these spirits that are just coming to you because they know you could see them?
No,
you know what I mean?
There. They are just there doing their business, living their lives.
Okay.
And then they see me and I see them, and they know that I'm on this side.
Okay.
I have some kind of light they can see.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
very noticeable. It's like they flip around, you know. It's like, whoa, what are you doing here? But I don't make an effort to interact.
Right.
You know, I'm a very neutral presence because I know my place. Mm-hmm. I'm not there to rustle things up or find out what your story is or any of that kind of stuff. I'm there. I'm just respectful. I'm a being just like you. You know, I try not to make a ruckus because they can see me. Sometimes they get very excited.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, especially like children get very excited. You know, and then there's just some people who just get very excited. They're like, oh my God, let me talk to my mom. I need to talk to my whoever. And then I'll have to go find them.
Right.
You know, because, you know, it's my job. So, yeah, I'm contacted all the time. All the time.
That's interesting.
I'll be darned. Let's see now. So one of our people in the chat room here, Steve B, asks, what do you think of vortexes?
They're everywhere.
When it comes to woods or being out just in the streets or something like that, what's the difference in feelings that you have?
There is definitely a big difference between a portal and a vortex. A vortex is churning energy that doesn't have a cause. It's just so much energy has been in one place that it just goes round and round and round. No root, has no, you know, it kind of just becomes a doorway for whatever frequency of entity is. We had one in a house I lived in the hall closet, and I stationed my to where I could kind of close my door but still see that closet so I could watch it. You know, you'll see portals in a lot of my porch cam videos here over Las Vegas, where they'll just light appears in the sky. It has its own source. Bam! There's something that's gone. I took those cameras down because honestly, I have communicated with those beings and other beings that are here in Vegas with another medium friend of mine who lives across town. I found out all I wanted to know. I didn't want to take the UFO thing any further because I'm an experiencer, and I don't want to take it further.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't want the ufology community as a whole to know where these beings are.
Right.
Honestly, I don't want to give their location away. I don't want to tell anyone what I know about it. What you know is what you'll see on my YouTube. Last Halloween is when we made contact with some of the beings that live here. And they, you know, I don't know. And then I, of course, joined MUFON after going to their meetings for about a year just because of the people I got to know and their stories. And I found out all I needed to know. So I've moved on.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to go on break, and we'll be right back. So everybody just relax and keep the chat room going, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Steph. Hey. It's a Tappy Tuesday today, Heidi. Taffy Tuesday. I don't know, Steph. That's kind of a stretch. Well, we want to give everyone something to chew on.
Tune in to the Gathering Radio Show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Hey, this is Lee from the Dead Zone. I want to give a huge shout out to Shauna and congratulations on her new podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. You'll hear some amazing guests like me, paranormal and true crime stories, and more. Catch her Wednesdays at 8 Central on the Para X Radio Network.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
And we're back. This is Jerry with The Calling, along with Kimberly Juarez and Heidi Lea. And that's her stomach growling. Anyway, so we, if you're liking what you're listening to and you haven't had a chance yet to go to the first part of the show, that will be put on our YouTube channel, The Calling Radio Show, tomorrow, and on our website, thecallingradioshow.com. Also, if you get a chance, hey, Para X has tons of entertainment. Tons. I think you guys need to check it out. You got The Gathering on Tuesday nights with Heidi and Steph. You got Geeks Paranormal right after us. Oh, and The Gathering is on at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tons of shows, so just get ready for that. Now, I have been putting something into the chat room, as I'm sure you guys noticed. This month is known as human trafficking. Let me get this thing back up here again. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Human Trafficking Awareness Month. End of theft of indigenous bodies on indigenous land. So for The Calling, it's not just going to be a month. Every week, we're going to talk to you guys about a certain person that's missing. And if you can, just take a little peek around and everything and see if you notice this person. I mean, because there's people listening from all around. This one is Destiny Kitso, missing since December 9th, 2021, missing from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Date of birth, December 30th, 2005. She's a female, of course, American Indian. Destiny may still be in the local area, or she may travel to Chicago, Illinois. She wears glasses and has ears pierced. Call 911, or you can call 1-800-THE-LOST. So keep your eyes out. You never know. It might just be someone that's just right there. Okay, let's get back to the show. All right, let's see now. Let's take a look and see if there's anything here that we have missed that people ask questions. Steve B's asking, have you heard of the tall whites?
Yes, they are here.
And what exactly is that?
You don't see them often, but they're highly intelligent. I'm just going to talk about this stuff openly because I'm not a MUFON member anymore. I'm not under, any agreements anymore.
Yeah.
They were, you know, and in fact, most of them do. This earth of ours is, like just a big soup bowl, I mean, really. The ones who need to stay hidden, and there's a reason that they stay hidden, and they have abilities and knowledge, that our government and all the governments use. What I've learned through the people that I've met and their lifetime stories and their experiences that, everything is possible. We have probably done most of the things that people think we haven't done already, and they just haven't been of benefit to mankind. So, they haven't been brought out in the open. Everything is to, just to keep the masses calm, which is understandable. Like George Carlin said, people are smart, groups are stupid. A person is smart, people are stupid. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. People are wild, crazy animals when you get them all together, So I think that's why, like, disclosure hasn't, and it won't happen like people think it will. There's not ships coming down. They're already here. They were here before us. They'll be here after us. They're in the ocean. They're in the mountains. If you look at a lot of my videos, I there's at least 2 different kinds. And you'd have to go back to the beginning too of the YouTube, because I don't do those anymore. I told you I got rid of the cameras because I've communicated with everyone I wanted to. I found out all I wanted to know, and I will share it if it's ever appropriate to do that. But it was for me. The first thing that showed up, it showed up on my porch cam. I wasn't looking for anything, It showed up on my porch cam, and I said, I cannot not show the world this. This is a UFO landing on my street. It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous thing. It was too ridiculous. Where
was this at?
This is in Las Vegas.
Okay. Wow.
This is up on a mountain. I live up on a mountain, and this mountain and most of the mountains on this side of town are all old volcanic rock and old volcanoes and pretty hollow. And then once we moved from one mountain to this mountain, I just had my porch cam on there. But once we moved here, they started doing construction. They were tearing out the rest of the mountain above us for very expensive, wealthy homes. People who live on the top of mountains kind of homes, So all this activity started showing up. So I got more cameras. And this was separate from security system cameras. I never used that for this. So because that was, I don't know, I've had stalkers before, and with location and things like that. I just got these little wireless cameras that I had for my porch cam, put them in the backyard, and the rest is history. The rest is history. It was a lot of activity for a long time, and now all of the mountain is dug up. So the activity is now just basically portals over the city, but nothing coming through my yard like it used to be. It's all built out now. They're all gone.
Kimberly?
I think that's pretty sad, because there's no place for them to go after,
It made me so angry. You have no idea. I was so angry.
Yeah, I've had an experience like that here.
It happened when I moved into this house, and it was like a month later I heard jackhammers, and I was like, what? Not this mountain, because this mountain is actually a very special mountain in Las Vegas.
Right.
It's always had a lot of things happen here, and it's historical, this mountain.
Right.
So the fact that they down and it's gross. I'm leaving. I'm going to the other part of town. Yeah, but they all got ran out. Everyone who's living in this volcano here, old volcano, got run out, and they showed up. They showed up on my cameras.
Yep.
All the little ships, all of the audio. You guys will be blown away. I just put it out there. It's like, look, here you go. But I don't know what to
I just put your YouTube channel in the chat room for people to check it out. It's interesting when you were talking about, you were part of Move On at one time?
Yeah.
One of our
still
people,
good friends with the. I may be a member in the future again. I mean, it's a great. Regardless of what people say about the leadership, I don't care about that. I'm not the type of person who affiliates with groups anyway.
Right.
But Move On gave me really, really special access to military people, lifetime military people, and that's who I wanted to know, what they knew. Right. So I do now.
Right.
What is there more for me to know? I don't know.
Right. We had a guest on, Paranormal Rider. We'll never say what his real name was because he's a pilot, and he just happened to have a UFO experience. This was like 2 years ago. I think it was almost 2 years ago. Anyway, I did some checking, and I had somebody with Move On help me look for the date and time that he seen the UFO. And he even showed me his flight, whatever they call it, flight manifest, whatever. And we were able actually to find proof that somebody actually turned it in, later dates and everything to Move On, that they seen something on this time. They seen a plane, they seen a UFO, they seen a UFO behind the plane. And his account of what happened was unbelievable. I mean, especially if you're facing something down that is not moving, I mean, it's coming right at you. You turn on bright lights, they turn on lights, and then all of a sudden they just, boom, they're gone, but was being followed by another. In 2 different states, people seeing the same thing, and it was pretty amazing.
Daily. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being a Move On member, honestly, is you have access to their database. You have access to their database of everyone ever who's reported a UFO and the details of it and the times and dates and everything. That's in their database. So that's one of the benefits for sure. This is so common, Jerry. It's every day. And I really didn't know how common it was until I moved to Vegas. And that was about 8 years ago. And I was greeted by a black triangle. Me and my family, it was coming from Death Valley, and I lived up on that other mountain, and I was sitting out drinking tea, moonlight, the pool, everything was just okay, and there's this thing coming really, really slow towards me. Took a long time to get to me, and it took a long time to get over me, and I ran, and I got the kids, and I got my husband, and I was like, this is it. There was a black triangle directly above us, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a S. Nobody cared. I was like, what? There's a black triangle. And the husband's like, okay, and he went back in and do his thing. Kids are like, okay, and cool, whatever. And so I sat there underneath it, and I filmed it with my cell phone, but it was just a little dot, with my cell phone, but it had the 3 lights, and you could see the bottom was just pure black, no landing gear or anything.
Yeah.
It was slow, no sound, no movement, no wind, no nothing. And then I just watched it just keep going wherever it was going. And I was like, I checked the news the next day. To me, this was a big deal. But he and my best friend had lived here for about 15 years. So I called her, and she said, oh yeah, welcome to Vegas. She's like, you're going to see things in the sky that'll make you question your life. So here we are. They're everywhere out here. Everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
So
And they're not hiding.
Gotcha. Paranormal Writer is asking, did you lose any time after seeing the triangle?
No.
No? Because I know some people have said that they've lost time after seeing not just a triangle, but seeing, UFOs and stuff.
Yeah. This wasn't my first interaction with. And there is one time in my life where I lost time I was very conscious of it. And it was when I had my visitation. And maybe we'll talk about that on another show, because that's the story that I told you that made me. But yeah, there's a lot of missing time.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll get
3 days
into
in
that
a row. The whole day. Yeah.
Tequila involved?
No, I was just a baby. I was about 3.5 when it happened. It was right before my parents got divorced, and we were supposed to take over the ranch, but my parents got divorced, so we didn't take over the ranch. My parents went their separate ways, and it happened the 3 days before that happened, where my parents told my grandparents they weren't going to sign for the ranch and all this, whatever. So yeah, it was definitely it was my gift to say, this is why you're here. This is what you're doing. This is who you are. Be strong, because all hell is about to break loose in life. And it did.
I'll be darned.
I see, Kimberly, I see you have my Susie doll in your back corner there. My Susie doll disappeared and my house burned down. So that was when we moved into the house I grew up in. That's right. The house we lived in before that, I had that doll.
Really?
And she was my favorite. And we moved and the house burned down and I never saw her again. So I think she burnt down the house.
She
was my favorite, though. I mean, you know what I mean? She didn't want to leave. I don't think she wanted to leave that house. That was a big old scary house. Scary house.
You never know.
Big old houses. Ugh, just scary.
We've actually seen her doll. What is your doll's name over there anyway, Kim?
Veronica. Her name is Veronica.
Veronica or Ver?
Veronica, like with an M. Veronica.
Veronica.
We've actually seen her move while we're doing the show.
I'm telling you, my Susie took care of me.
I hate dolls.
She did. I was alone all the time when I was a kid. All the time I was alone. Mm-hmm. And she took care of me. I got her for Christmas one year, and she took care of me the whole time we were in that crazy haunted house. And, and then she was gone. I guess she did her job, or she didn't want to leave that house. I can't figure that one out. I don't know why I didn't have her anymore, because she was my best friend.
Yeah, I've actually seen a doll like peek out around a corner and then go back in, and I thought it was a baby, and to me I was like, that's crazy, because I didn't believe my niece at all. I didn't believe her, and she used to tell me that doll would move and walk around, and I was like, okay, whatever. I used to think that when I knew she was probably telling the truth. And then one day I was going by the closet, and whoop, there it goes, peeking around the corner. I'm like, okay. Yeah,
that's part of the
paranormal. The adults hated that doll. I think one of my grandparents got me the doll, and my parents were just absolutely horrified by that doll. Horrified.
Yeah, this doll is supposedly haunted, and
I love that doll.
She has something wrong with her belly, and when we talk about the marks on her belly, that's when the K2 goes off.
Oh.
That's the only time. So I don't know if it's... Yeah, look at Jerry. I don't know.
Nope. Just sit your head up a little bit further. Stay right there, because then I can't see her. I'd appreciate it.
I don't see anything wrong with her. I've never been freaked out by her, but Jerry doesn't.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to buy this. Dolls are a weird little thing. I have some little ones, but that are vintage, antique. They're strange, but yeah, I wanted to buy this brand new doll. I forget where I was. That place in Arizona where you go. It's the ghost town. Where's that called?
Jackpot.
It's with the donkeys.
Suspicion Mountain or
No, it's a real ghost town, and I forget where it is. Dang it! But I wanted to buy this, like, it was made by the tribe that was on that part of the reservation in Arizona, and I wanted that doll so bad. It was brand new, and my husband's like, you are not getting that doll. The doll is not living in my house. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
I wanted that doll so bad, but it had the same vibe as Susie. Like, it was a live thing, and I was like, that doll belongs with me. But yeah, that's the thing about being me, is that you have to protect your family first and your children. I have an autistic son who's nonverbal, and so is he sensitive? Yes, but I don't know his gifts because he's nonverbal.
Right.
So I have to be very careful. Like, my house is a fortress as far as spiritual protection and things like that, and when we go anywhere and things like that, I'm always protective of him. But that's why after I had kids, I really put a lid on it.
Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have?
Them to see anything that I had seen. But that was not that was my daughter. It turns out she was a seer also, so
yeah, she
grew up to be a sensitive, and but she was a seer when she was little. She'd tell you who the ghost, there's ghosts there, how many, just looking right at them, dealing with it. But she kind of knew that that they were just kind of like part of the furniture to her. You know what I mean? It was kind of like they were normally in the environment. She didn't want to interact with them at all. No.
Yeah.
But she'd tell you. She just go on her business.
My daughter had night terrors a lot, and then my other one has abilities like an empath. And my son can hear, and I don't know if he's seen. No, I think he did see a spirit. So I think it runs in your family, even though. And the way you say natural, I truly believe that it's not even it's just something that you already know that you probably have that comes along with you. Like, I feel like I'm a natural witch too. Like, I would have some type of natural abilities. Not learn to be a witch, but I already feel like I have those things,
It's just a word we used before that's not been in the vernacular, for people, especially people older than 20. And natural is just, it explains a lot of things. I have had a really hard time putting a label on myself, because when you're on social media, you have to explain, or just like, here I am, or what I'm doing, whatever. And I've had a hard time like narrowing that down.
That I still do.
But it's absolutely, it's been since I was born. It's in me.
Yep.
It's a natural part of me, just like, my arms and legs. So, and the fact that it's all throughout my family, it's just a natural thing. So I've struggled with a term, medium, empath, spiritualist, and all kinds of things. But really, it just really comes down to, it's just natural. And I see what I see, and I'll tell you if you want to know.
That's
if
awesome.
you don't, I'm cool with that too. There's, people ask me, it's like, do you ever want to go up to anybody and say, hey, your uncle's standing behind you, or anything like that? No, I will never do that. I'll never invade your space. If your ancestor wants to reach you, they'll let me know, and but it's never, oh, go talk to that. No, I'm not that kind of person. So I'm not approached that way by the other side.
What's weird is that my mother, when I was a kid, used to do that. I mean, she would, but she was different in being like psychic and stuff, where she would just walk up to somebody and grab onto their arm, like mostly their elbow. And they never fought her. They would just turn and look at her, and then she would tell them where their life actually broke off and what they were supposed to be doing, their lifeline. And
that's
she
pretty
would tell
cool.
Them, she was on the...
I knew somebody like that once who could read the life breaks.
Yep.
And they were like all that they could see. You know what I mean? It was the lifeline and the breaks where they went kind of like palm reading, but with energy.
Yep. That she would tell them, if they were, because sometimes you forget. I mean, it could be traumatizing that you forget. So she would tell them about the bullying, if it was bullying, or if it was, incest, something like that happened to them, and then help them get back on track. Now, myself, many years later, in 82, I think it was, when I came home from the service and everything, we were driving, and a friend of mine was driving my truck and rolled it, and I crashed, and that was my awakening, because then Mom came to me and told me about all the things that she's now going to be giving me, because she died when I was 11 years old. And when the first time in 2010, when we formed a team, paranormal team, somebody asked, can you guys smudge places? And I thought, well, I don't know. So I went down to the American Indian place and asked them to help me do it and stuff. And one guy was showing me how to do it, how to smudge a person. He goes, now you go ahead and smudge him. You'll feel when it's right. And it was like there was a knothole, and I was looking through there, and I was seeing all these events that happened to him that tragically hurt him psychologically inside, that actually took him off his life force, his lifeline. And that was the first kid. He was just a boy, drunk aunt, drunk uncle. They got super upset. They started fighting, and the next thing you know, that's where he changed right there. But I had to do it with smoke to be able to see that. So I do pretty much the same thing Mom does, but again, I got to use smoke. So I can't just touch a person, which I'd rather do instead of smell like pot all day long. It's burning smoke.
Right. But, I get it.
So we're getting pretty close.
That's an amazing gift, though. It's really a great time for us naturals. Let's just put it that way. For us naturals to really, be out here trying to empower people. Even if we're stuck in our houses, we can empower people. We can help them see themselves in their own worth, in their own power, in their own way.
Right. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're at the end of the show. And is there a way that somebody can get a hold of you if they want a reading or need your help in something?
It always exists, Heidi Lea. And you can find me, you can actually just email me directly at allthingsexist@yahoo.com. It's ALL things exist. And then we can talk privately there. But all my readings are private. And
Sounds good. Awesome. Okay, we're going to put everything up on here too, and we'll even go over it on our YouTube channel and everything on how people can get a hold of you. So this is the end of the show. Thank you so much, Heidi. Kim, as always, you're the bomb. Appreciate you. Thank you, Para X. Sarge, you're the bomb. And thank you for all the troops out there. And everybody be safe. See you next week.
Thanks for coming.